Hello and welcome to this tutorial on range. Range is a built-in function used to create a sequence of numbers. The syntax for range is range, the start index, the end index, and then the number of steps. Range allows you to generate a series of numbers within a given range. The most common use of range is to create an iterable of numbers and also to perform an action a specific number of times. Let's take a look at an example. A range will return a sequence of numbers. So if I say range 5 is going to return numbers from 0 to 5. It has a default value of 0. This number is the end number. The default step is 1. So I'm going to store the range value in results, and then I'm going to print out results. When you do this, you will see it's going to show you that this is a range from 0 to 5. Whatever number you put here is going to be a range from that 0 to that number. If you want to change this to a sequence, maybe a list, you'll say you put the range function inside the list class, and then it's going to create a sequence of that number from 0 to 4, which is 5 numbers altogether. Now, if I change this to 50, you're going to see it's going to create number from 0 to 49. If I want to specify a specific range of numbers, say I want to print out numbers from 40 to 50, I'm going to put the start. Like I said, the default start is a 0. That's why it's starting from 0. I'm going to put the start at the number I wanted to start from. So I'm going to say 40, 50. And you will see right here is starts from 40 and then it ends at 49. You'll note the end number is always -1. So if you put 50 here, it's going to give you 49 as the last number. Let's print out from 0 to 50 again. Now the steps, by default, it's prints just one step after the other. It add 1 to each of the item. So it prints out each of the item. But if you want to change the number of steps, I can say 10. That is, it should print only 0, then it should print 10, and then 20, and then 30, and then 40. So you can see right here, the number is from 0 to 50, but right here is printing to 40, and that is because this number 50, the last number, will not be printed. Is assuming that it is end -1, so that's 49. So, and when it's going 10 steps, it's not going to reach 50. If you actually want it to print to 50, you can just do 51 here, and then you can see it prints out to 50. So how do you decide the number of items that will be printed? You use a simple formula, start plus end, that is this plus this, and divide by steps, and then you take the upper limit. If it is 50, that will be 50 divided by 10, and it's going to give you 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. And if you want to, if you do 51, that means it's going to be 5 points, and that will, if you take the upper limit, it's going to give you 6. So if you count the numbers now, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the items that will be created. Let's take another example, another simple example like this. So I'm going to say result, I'm going to say range 0 to 30, and I'm going to put 5 steps. I'm going to print out results. Of course, it's going to show this again, and then I'm going to put it all in a list so you can see the numbers spread in a list. So you have all these numbers, and if you want to know the number of numbers there, that you would divide, it will say 0 plus 30 divided by 5. It's going to give you the total number of items in the list. Apart from the concatenation and repetition operation, the range function has the ability to work like an iterable. Operations it can implement are similar to iterables operations. You can see operations like in, not in, the index, slice, length. These operations can be implemented using a range. Let's use this range as an example and store it in a variable called value. And then I'm going to print out value. So right underneath is just the range. So I can perform an index function on it and just use the index operator. Say I want to look for the item 10, which is on the second index. So if I say 2 here, it's going to give me 10 because I'm looking at item on the second index. I can also do a slice. I say from the second index, which is from 10, and then I can say to the fourth item. So if I print this out, it's going to print out the item from the second index to the fourth item. The item on the second index is 0, 1, 2, second index. The item on the fourth item is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this should return item 10 and 15. But you see, it's only showing me the range here. It's returning the range. If you want to see the value, you can just probably cast it into a list. Any iterable is going to show you the value. So it's showing me 10 and 15 in a list. Let's take out this and do it again. Just print out value. I can also check the content. You can see right here, the content is 0, 5, 10, all these numbers. I can check if there is an item in the content using the in operator. So I can say is 11 in value. It's going to say false because 11 doesn't exist here. But what if I say is 10 in value? It's going to say true. That means 10 exists in value. I can say is 10 not in value? Of course, 10 is in value. So, I mean, this value, the range, 10 is in the range. So it's going to return false. You can also check the minimum and the maximum value in your range by saying min will give you 0. That's the minimum value. And max will give you the maximum value in the range, which is 25. To know the length of the range, you can use the len function, and it's going to show you the length of the items in the range. You can see that number is there are 6 items in the range. Let me comment out this and this result. The use of range to perform an action repeatedly or to iterate through a sequence of numbers. So I can say use the for loop, say for I in range 10, and I print out I. It's going to print out each of the number from 0 to 9. Of course, if I say range 100, it's going to print out numbers up to 100. And then, of course, I can begin by saying, I want you to print from 10 to 100. So it will start from 10 to 100. And I can say, I want it to only be each to be 10 steps. So it's going to print from 10 to 9, jumping 10 steps. Let's run a typical example of a multiplication table. The multiplication table will be printed out having multiplication from 2 to 12. So I'll say for I in range 2 to 13. as you know, it's going to be printing out 2 to 12. So I will just print out I. So I'll do multiplication table for 2, for 3 to 12. Now let me put it in a string and then type out, put it in multiplication table. So I have multiplication table, 2 multiplication table, 3 multiplication table. So for each of the loop, I'm going to create the multiplication table. It's going to be in range 1 to 13. So that will print from 1 to 13. So then I'll run a print. I'll put the answer in a string format. I'll say I, that is this number. You can see 2 multiplication table has 2 all written out. 3 multiplication table has 3 all written out. So I'll say I multiply by X. So this is what comes out. 2 multiplied by 1, and to 2 multiplied by 12. It does it for all the multiplication to 12. So, and then I will put the equal sign to say equals to, and then I'll put the answer here, which will be I multiplied by X. It's quite simple. You can see how that 2 multiplied by 1 is 2, 2 multiplied by 2, 4, like that. And it does it for all the multiplication table that we're running through. Let me make it separated. I'm going to use asterisk multiply by 22. So I have a number. So I want the heading to be separated this way. So you see, this is so easily done. This is a full multiplication table. Let me put just a print command so that I can have a space in between each one. So this is a multiplication table. This is 2 multiplication table, 3 multiplication table, like that. And then it does it so easily.